Well, Rivers politics now, moving on. It's already a moving Rivers State with different series and episodes. It is a fight for political power, and nothing has been spared in the desperation to either grab or share power. Rivers State Governor Similaye Fubara says his administration's achievement in 3 months have exceeded the performance of those who spent 8 years in office. Governor Fubara will be 1 year in office on the 29th of May, but he's using a yardstick of 3 months to base his assessment. Maybe he admits that the fight with his predecessor and estranged political ally, Wike, negatively affected governance in the oil-rich state. But it is not yet Uhuru for Governor Fubara, as the complex political situation continues to present itself in different forms and dimensions. For now, there has been no victor, no vanquished. It seems this is a fight to finish. Well, joining me in the studio to give some perspective on the matter is the publisher of The Beam, a Rivers State-based publication, Obi Undukwe. Hello, ma, and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Femi.
Who is stoking the flame in this epic political battle in Rivers State?
Who is stoking the flame? Well, no matter who seems to be at the forefront, there are always unseen hands, and then some also other voices, of interest. So in this case, I can say that both parties are involved, both the pro-Fubara group and then the pro-Wike group. So you can't rule out anyone, because if somebody takes a fight to you, definitely you're going to fight back. You're going to react. So in this case, when you say who is stoking the fight, I think that it's an equal and opposite reaction, based on comments and based on actions, and then some of the things that even those of us in the public, we don't know. So I think that both of them have equal standing when it comes to who actually is behind the crisis that we're seeing.
Rivers politics has always been a fight from 1999 till date.
Yeah.
Look at the history of the elections, the antecedents of the political actors there in Rivers State. Is this any way tied to the return of democracy to Rivers State in 1999, when we had the orderlies, and we've had Governor Amechi come and go, we've had Governor Wike come and go, but it was still not easy for these ones.
Yeah, well, it's not about Rivers State. We can't just take Rivers State out.
But Rivers is peculiar.
It's
when
peculiar
it comes
because
to this kind of political drama.
Yeah, because Rivers State occupies a peculiar place in the polity, in the sense that every government that comes also expects, votes from the state, expects to be sponsored, the funds, needed for any party to win. So that's why probably Rivers State, it looks as if it's only Rivers, it's everywhere. But in this case, it's been on right from the days of Odili. We saw him having issues with some of the godfathers who eventually brought him to power, the Alabo, Graham Douglas, late Mashahari, and the rest of them, Victor Odili, and the rest of others. We also have a situation when Amechi also wanted to succeed Odili. At some point, Odili, of course, supported him, but at some point, when the pressure from the federal might was much, he had to move, and then threw his weight behind Omeha, and of course Amechi continued and then won that this thing without Odili's support, so to speak. And then we now saw Amechi, as he was about to leave, wanted to put Dakuku, and it wasn't easy. We saw Wike with the support of the federal might. He was also able to push, and then of course that's the first time we're actually seeing somebody from the same ethnic group succeed the other 8 years of the queries and another 8 years. And then, of course, for Wike moving to Fubara, it has never happened. Like I said, it wasn't easy for, starting with Ada George, to actually give Odili the support. It wasn't also easy for Odili to give an Amechi, and then Amechi to give a Wike. But here, we saw Wike breaking that jinx. Yes, there was a successful transition, which has never happened. And not just that it happened from PDP to PDP, it also happened from the upland, the Queries and the other upland communities to the Ijaw or the riverine community. It has, for 24 years, like they said, the Ijaws have not tasted power since the creation of the new River State, when the Bayelsa group left. So it's been like that, but it's not like some people who want to make it look like it's a spiritual thing or what. No, it's always expected. Godfatherism, there are so many cases abound. I've seen quite a lot. I'm not really surprised because I've had a lot of encounters with some persons who actually made this kind of success. If you look at the case of Abia State, when Orji Okalu did everything possible to put his successor, T.A. Orji, at the end of the day, what happened? The man almost went to jail because of the actions and inactions of the man that he put there. And then some of them also have decided that they won't go that route again. But for this one, it's just too early, too soon. That's what I say. It's too soon for the crisis.
Some people are already painting it with an ethnic brush because it has divided the state now across ethnic lines. How dangerous is this narrative?
Well, it's a wrong narrative because in the first place, the man who brought Fubara is Ikwere. He's not an Ijaw man. I don't know how many of the Ijaws today who were part of that success, that victory, okay? Now, if you say it has divided, that means what you're saying is that Fubara does not also have the support of, what do you call it, the upland people. No, but there are very many of them who are also with him, and there are still very many of them Ijaws who are also supporting Wike and whatever he's trying to correct. You know, so it's not really, but you see, for those who are trying to twist it to make it like an ethnic thing, I think it's expected that some persons always want to benefit when there's crisis, and so they can come up with any narrative just to be part of it. You know. So
yes, and then there's this impeachment threat now dangling over the head of Governor Fubara. But it appears as if the lawmakers who came up with that impeachment threat are no longer recognized by the governor as lawmakers. So that means laws passed, legislations made by these 27 APC lawmakers will not hold water in Rivers State.
Yeah, Femi, I want to correct an impression. It's not about who the governor recognizes. It's about who the law recognizes. We have a constitution. This is not a banana republic. We have a constitution, and it states clearly what a state assembly is. If you look at the 1999 constitution, this particular one, because there are so many copies around, people don't have the upgraded. Even some lawyers don't know their upgraded copies. If you look at it, you see the relevant sections where it talks about the assembly, what constitutes an assembly. And even when you're talking about seats being vacant, because that's what they are saying, that since they defected, they are no longer members of the assembly, that the seats have been declared vacant. It's very clear. It is a responsibility according to section 109 subsection 2. People stop at 1091G, but go down to section 2. It says the speaker is the one responsible to declare the seat vacant. But in this case, the speaker is part of it. So what it means is that the only body that is enabled by law is the Federal High Court. If you go to section 272 subsection 3, it's very clear there that the Federal High Court is the only one that can declare the seat of a governor, deputy governor, or assembly vacant. So it's not about whether the governor recognizes them or not. But of course, you know that in this type of situation, people resort to self-help. And self-help could come from people who are giving advice. And then without you going through, don't forget, the governor has been a core civil servant. He's not really been in this business. So, and an accountant, he may not also be grounded in some of this thing by way of experiential knowledge. So he's bound to make mistakes. He's bound to be misled. You know, but again, it's also, it could also be
misled by who? Who are those misleading him?
Yeah, definitely. There are people around who are not happy with what is going on. Some have personal issues, scores to settle with Wike. Some think that Wike has become too powerful. This is the time to take power from him. There are also others who feel that this is an opportunity to penetrate the system and become part of the system. Like I said the last time, it is where the pot of soup is. That's where the people go to. So there are very many people with different interests. You understand me? So they are there to give advice, to say, do this way, do it that way. But the important thing is what the law says, the Constitution.
Okay, then now let's talk. The presidency got involved at some point now, trying to bring peace now in Rivers State and also settle the scores between Governor Fubara and the FCT Minister Wike. It appears as if that has fallen flat on its face. That presidential intervention, and even the president now is in some way trying to even stay clear of the whole crisis so that it will be interpreted as him taking sides in all of this. Would you say the president's moves to distance himself from the whole crisis has further worsened the situation?
Yes, I think that for the president to have even taken the initiative in the first place to broker peace. And then, with what we're seeing today, like the whole resolution, the peace pact, and everything has crashed. It's also because of him to get the parties to come to a common table and find out why what is going on is going on. Staying away, distancing himself may not be the solution. And I think that that's why the whole thing is escalating. But again, the president also has to be careful so people don't say he's taking side. Yeah. You understand? Because the governor is elected. Wike is a minister who played a major role and is still playing a major role even in the FCT, unlike what we've seen in the past anyway. So I think that the president also needs to bring the parties together and find out why what is going on is going on. But a lot of people had said that the peace resolution, the 8-point resolution the president read out and which they agreed to and signed, is not constitutional. Even the governor said it. That is not constitutional. So what it means is that he wants to face the Constitution. And if you're going to go by the Constitution, that means the judiciary will have to come in. That's where the laws come. So that's...
Local elections are around the corner. You know, the tenure of the local council chiefs now in Rivers State will end in June. And there has been no moves or nothing, no election at the grassroots initiated by Governor Fubara. What are the consequences of these?
Well, depending on...
because we are also hearing the local council chiefs saying that at the end of their tenure, they will not leave office.
Well, everything, like I said, if they don't want to stick to the peace pact, what it means is that they have to go by the Constitution, the provisions of the law. And then what does the law say? That's the most important thing. Of course, the Assembly had tried to make amendments in the law, extending the tenure of local government. But again, these people are also kicking. So I think that rather than people take laws into their hands, the proper thing to do is for them to allow the law to take its course. But of course, Fubara has a leeway, which is the caretaker thing. It's not fashionable, but many governors are doing it. Yeah, and probably that's what he intends to do. And I don't, anybody who is threatening, it might not augur well for the state. And if there's a breakdown of law and order, of course, the president will definitely step in. And then whatever action he takes, nobody's going to blame him.
Just like the president now trying to stay neutral, it also appears as if some leaders in Rivers State, maybe leaders of conscience, political leaders, are also trying to stay out of the whole crisis. Do you see it that way? Because, the governor also said something that in Rivers State, there are no leaders, because it appears as if maybe he's not getting wise counsel from these leaders.
But there are leaders. The leaders that actually said they organized themselves as Rivers Elders initially, who came led by former Governor Ada George. They tried to meet with him and see how they could proffer solutions and broker peace. I think he rebuffed every attempt, probably based on advice, or he's thinking that he could reconcile with his godfather, Wike. But to say that there are no leaders, I don't want to believe that. There are leaders on both sides. There are leaders who are actually making it. I know some personally who have also tried to, but they are still yet frustrated because according to most of them, they are not getting the response they expected from the governor's side. But I don't know much about getting to Wike. But again, the leaders are doing the best they can in the present moment, because it's something that had been on even before now. The question you would have even asked is, how much have these leaders done in the past, even when we had political issues? So it goes beyond leaders or elders, like you said. It really goes beyond that. It also depends on the governor himself, what he actually wants. Looking at his commentaries in the last 2 weeks, you can see that this is not the voice of a man who wants to anybody to give the advice. I don't want to believe that it's
maybe he's had enough.
Maybe he's had enough, fine, but he said there's nothing too much for him to do for peace to reign in the state, even if it means whatever. So now
you feel he's not doing much?
No. He's now saying that it's time to fight. I'm sure you've been listening to him. It's time to fight, and they're going to fight headlong. Whatever that means, however they want to go do that. But if you are going to sound that way, do you think that it's actually leaders and elders who are advising him along that path? I don't want to believe that. I think that that's the part of the man that is people are beginning to know. People saw him as the victim, as the man who doesn't talk, as the man who could, be submissive to anything. But now we are seeing a change of roles, a change of baton, where even the Wike himself, people thought was always in the news, is quiet. And then the governor is now the one who is saying, who is talking, and then, making comments that people are now beginning to, or is that the same man that we used to know? So
you are in Rivers State now. Your publication is Rivers based now. What's the state of governance in Rivers State? Is it at standstill?
Well, he's celebrating his 1-year anniversary. And I looked at the table, I looked at what they are doing, and I realized that there are quite some projects he is commissioning. He's commissioned about 2 or 3. But again, some of those projects were initiated by his predecessor and maybe funded fully, partially, I don't know, some of them. You know, because when people say, oh, their contractors are being owed, of course, road projects, 75% of it is earthworks. And if somebody has paid for that and then you not do the remaining, that's not to say that you're being owed so much. Of course, government is a continuous, so you pay off. So I've seen quite a few, but I'm not really convinced because there are other sectors that are dying. There are other sectors that are begging. For 1 year, we are only talking about commissioning of roads that were probably started or completed or initiated by your predecessor. We are talking about other sectors. Where is the health sector? Where is the education sector? Where is the schools? So many schools dilapidated, abandoned, and all that. Nothing is happening in those sectors. Agriculture is completely dead. For 1 year, we have not seen anything. Probably the flag off that he is also trying to see what he can do. Maybe that will take care. But for now, I'm not really, really impressed based on the River State I used to know. How did he did it? Well, I mentioned it, and to an extent.
Well, we'll also leave it for the people in River State to judge.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's all on the program this week, but you can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching. I am Femi Akonde. But coming up next is a review of activities from the presidential villa compiled by the Office of the Personal Assistant to the President on Videography.